More poems of Czeslaw, a song on the end of the world, translated by Anthony Milosz. On the day the world ends, a bee circles a clover, a fisherman mends a glimmering net, happy porpoises jump in the sea. By the rain spout young sparrows are playing, and the snake is gold-skinned, as it should always be. On the day the world ends, women walk through the fields under their umbrellas. A drunkard grows sleepy at the edge of a lawn. Vegetable peddlers shout in the street, and a yellow-sailed boat comes near the island. The voice of a violin lasts in the air and leads into a starry night. And those who expected lightning and thunder are disappointed, and those who expected signs and archangels' trumps do not believe it is happening now. As long as the sun and the moon are above, as long as the bumblebee visits a rose, as long as rosy infants are born, no one believes it is happening now. Only a white-haired old man, who would be a prophet, yet is not a prophet, for he's much too busy, repeats while he binds his tomatoes, "There will be no other end of the world. There will be no other end of the world." ARS Poetica, translated by Czeslaw and Lillian Vallee. I have always aspired to a more spacious form that would be free from the claims of poetry or prose, and would let us understand each other without exposing the author or reader to sublime agonies. In the very essence of poetry there is something indecent. A thing is brought forth which we didn't know we had in us, so we blink our eyes, as if a tiger had sprung out and stood in the light, lashing his tail. That's why poetry is rightly said to be dictated by a daemonian, though it's an exaggeration to maintain that he must be an angel. It's hard to guess where that pride of poets comes from, when so often they're put to shame by the disclosure of their frailty. What reasonable man would like to be a city of demons, who behave as if they were at home, speak in many tongues, and who, not satisfied with stealing his lips or hand, work at changing his destiny for their convenience? It's true that what is morbid is highly valued today. And so you may think that I am only joking, or that I've devised just one more means of praising art with the help of irony. There was a time when only wise books were read, helping us to bear our pain and misery. This, after all, is not quite the same as leafing through 1,000 works fresh from psychiatric clinics. And yet, the world is different from what it seems to be, and we are other than how we see ourselves in our ravings. People, therefore, preserve silent integrity, thus earning the respect of their relatives and neighbors. The purpose of poetry is to remind us how difficult it is to remain just one person. For our house is open, there are no keys in the doors, and invisible guests come in and out at will. What I am saying here is not, I agree, poetry, as poems should be written rarely and reluctantly, under unbearable duress, and only with the hope that good spirits, not evil ones, choose us for their instrument. Berkeley, 1968. A Magic Mountain, translated by Czeslaw Milosz and Lillian Valley. I don't remember exactly when Budberg died. It was either 2 years ago or 3. The same with Chen, whether last year or the one before. Soon after our arrival, Budberg, gently pensive, said that in the beginning it is hard to get accustomed, for here there is no spring or summer, no winter or fall. I kept dreaming of snow and birch forests, where so little changes you hardly notice how time goes by. This is, you will see, a magic mountain. Budberg, a familiar name in my childhood. They were prominent in our region, this Russian family, descendants of German Balts. I read none of his works, too specialized. And Chen, I have heard, was an exquisite poet, which I must take on faith, for he wrote in Chinese. Sultry Octobers, cool Julys, trees blossom in February. Here the nuptial flight of hummingbirds does not forecast spring. Only the faithful maple sheds its leaves every year. For no reason. Its ancestors simply learned it that way. I sensed Budberg was right, and I rebelled. So I won't have power, won't save the world. Fame will pass me by, no tiara, no crown. Did I then train myself the unique, to compose stanzas for gulls and sea haze, to listen to the foghorns blaring down below? Until it passed. What passed? Life. Now, I am not ashamed of my defeat. One murky island with its barking seals, or a parched desert, is enough to make us say, yes, we see. Even asleep, we partake in the becoming of the world. Endurance comes only from enduring. With a flick of the wrist, I fashioned an invisible rope and climbed it, and it held me. What a procession! Quelle délice! What caps and hooded gowns! Most respected Professor Budberg, most distinguished Professor Chen, wrong, Honorable Professor Milosz, who wrote poems in some unheard of tongue. Who will count them anyway? And here, sunlight, so that the flames of their tall candles fade. And how many generations of hummingbirds keep them company as they walk on across the magic mountain. And the fog from the ocean is cool, for once again it is July. Berkeley, 1975. Incantation, translated by Czeslaw and Robert Pinsky. Human reason is beautiful and invincible. No bars, no barbed wire, no pulping of books, no sentence of banishment can prevail against it. It establishes the universal ideas in language and guides our hand so we write truth and justice with capital letters, lie and oppression with small. It puts what should be above things as they are, is an enemy of despair and a friend of hope. It does not know Jew from Greek or slave from master, giving us the estate of the world to manage. It saves austere and transparent phrases from the filthy discord of tortured words. It says that everything is new under the sun, opens the congealed fist of the past. Beautiful and very young are philosophia and poetry, her ally in the service of the good. As late as yesterday, nature celebrated their birth. The news was brought to the mountains by a unicorn and an echo. Their friendship will be glorious. Their time has no limit. Their enemies have delivered themselves to destruction. Berkeley, 1968. Namaste.